Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode. It will be fantastic. Another fantastic episode of 302 of a Kind. It's Kevin Indig and my humble self. Thanks so much for
Marcus
joining.
Tandler, yeah. I want to say your name.
Full name. Oh my God. I didn't even know
No,
what
I
to
know. I graduated.
naming you as well. I don't know. We'll get better every week with the introduction. Dude, it has been a crazy week. I mean, last week we said, oh, we're going to talk about your new blog post and growth memo, which is just spectacular. We definitely have to talk about this. I thought we were going to talk about this for the whole show, but then Google, decided a little bit differently. They decided to spice the things up a little bit.
Yes.
And I think we should definitely talk about this because I think the SEO community, the wide SEO community, is quite in shock in some way. As I heard some people say, oh, the SEO, the affiliate game is completely over and stuff like this. I know we've heard this before, but this is big. Yeah, this is big. So without much further ado, I would say let's jump right into it. Of course, we are talking about this one here. So what happened? So on Monday, Google CEO Sundar Pichai took the stage at, I think it was the U.S. National Retail Federation's big show. I think this is what it's called. And he unveiled something just incredible. The UCP, the Universal Commerce Protocol. So the idea behind it is to enable what Google calls agentic commerce, allowing AI systems to not just recommend products, but actually complete purchases on a user's behalf. Awesome. But obviously, this isn't happening in a vacuum because last fall, OpenAI introduced a quite similar concept, the agentic commerce protocol, so the ACP. And this was designed to enable direct purchases inside ChatGPT, initially with partners like Shopify, Stripe, and Etsy. What's different this time is the scale. Google's launch coalition is much broader. In addition to Shopify and Etsy, of course, you need those. It includes major US retailers like Walmart, Target, as well as Wayfair, and around, I think, 20 additional endorsers, including PayPal, Stripe, Sephora, Zalando, of course, Berlin. So Google is clearly trying to make this attractive for retailers by offering some meaningful incentives, including access to customer data. This is very valuable. Account creation inside the flow, amazing, really cool, and even loyalty program integration. So in the future, UCP is meant to power purchases directly from Gemini and Google's AI mode, obviously initially in the US. And given Google's long and mostly unsuccessful history of trying to own the shopping transaction itself, this feels like a strategic reset. Not building a marketplace, but building the infrastructure. Betting that AI-driven behavior change finally creates a new opening. So, as far as I see it, this isn't about checkout. It's about who controls the rules of commerce in an agent-driven world. So my question to you, Kevin, if agentic commerce becomes real, do brands still matter? Or does trust shift entirely to the platforms and agents that negotiate on our behalf?
Before I jump in, I feel like I just watched a Marcus Tandler keynote. That was an amazing setup. Just want to give you some kudos and some respect. That was really cool.
I think this is such a big topic that it's
huge. It's huge, of course.
It's important to explain it like in short, this is what's going on.
Yeah, no, you did a fantastic job.
I tried my best. Thank you so much. Also, I was like, seriously. I hope I can stitch it together the right way, though. Thank you.
No, I was like, don't stop talking. I want to keep listening to this. No, you did a great job.
No, I'm done now.
Okay. No, I'll talk a little bit. Fine. So, look, is there place for brands, or if you turn that question around, you could ask, what still are the levers that we have to get an advantage? Because, to take a step back, as you said, right, this is a protocol, meaning a schema that maps fields to a universal understanding, right? So if your price, your availability, the weight of the product, like all sorts of details about a product are now part of a universal language that can be communicated between Google, the merchant, the payment processor, the user, everyone. Okay, cool. So if that's all just, like if it's all just about product criteria and price and category, right? Like how much differentiation is there? And there still is some differentiation, but it's getting narrower right now because we're still dealing mostly with a list of search results or products. A lot goes into the sorting of that list, right? So we have a big playing field. And if we jump into the future, into an imagined future of, say, in the next 5 years, and this is absolutely the standard, and users adopt it, and merchants adopt it, and everybody's happy, then there's still a playing field, but it's smaller. So there's obviously a lot to be said about the technical factors. Is your product feed up to date? Do you have all the fields? Right? Like how quickly is available? There's some technical component to this, which I think will be very quickly standardized. And if, for example, you're a Shopify merchant, all of that will be done for you in the back end anyway, right? But there's still an important role of brand recall, because agents, even in the future, will still give you different options to pick from, and your cognitive priming, if you will, right? Like how familiar you are with the brand, how much you trust it, etc. All that will play a role. Two, there's still going to be ways to...
Wait, only if I want to have it play a role. Because if I said, I made this cheapest solution, it won't. It's like, hey, there's this Miele appliance you can get. No, take the cheap one, right? As it won't even ask.
Yes, I think this is such an interesting conversation, because I'm actually I'm writing a memo about this right now for the not next week but the week after. But I'm going to give you a teaser.
Right now, talking, no writing.
I mean, the agents write for me while we're talking anyway. So this is important because my theory is that two things are going to happen, okay? For low-priced products, say laundry detergent, right? Like toilet paper, this really easy stuff, agents have zero value because you subscribe to that on Amazon or you get it somewhere else, right? Like maybe they'll do a check here and there, but that's not where the value is, right? There's also not a big margin because it's a commoditized product. Now, then there's the opposite of the medal, which are really high-priced items. So think about like flight tickets. Think about maybe cars, expensive, I don't know, fashion, jewelry, watches, all that kind of stuff, luxury goods, right? And so for those, the big question is, how much control do you still want to have over purchasing these products? And I'm not even saying that because of trust. I think trust matters a lot in the beginning, but over time it will, as we learn to rely more on these agents, we'll trust these things more as they get better, okay? That's figure outable. Yeah. But the question is, do you want to have a role in this just to feel like, you're like maybe part of the fun is selecting your seat on the airplane, right? So I think a big value of these agents for expensive items is actually to shorten the research, right? You want to buy a car, and now instead of spending a month or longer with the research, you might be able to do it in an hour, maybe less, right? So,
but the sale I still want to do, because I think this is a highly emotional thing, right? And buying a car, I don't want to be just like, okay, let's buy a car. Okay, whatever. Just put it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think for high-priced items, that's not the right, like that. I'm not sure if people are really going to adopt it, right? So I think where these kind of automated purchasing processes, these agents have the most value is in the middle, where it's not a cheap commodity product. It's also not an expensive product. It's like, I want to buy a new shirt. I need another shirt. Go suggest me something. Maybe check in with me once, but if not, just buy it and I can return it. That's I think where the big opportunity is, and it might still matter. Like what the agent thinks. So this is now we're coming back to SEO, right? If you're the agent will put together a choice set. Even if he doesn't show it to you for himself, we'll put together 3, 10, or whatever products to say, okay, which of those is the most relevant? And that process is still a classic SEO process, because you can go out as a merchant and work with influencers, write blog articles, talk on Reddit, blah, 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 all these things that we do now to influence what the agent understands as most relevant. So there still is a playing field, but that is much more directed towards bots. And where it's directed towards humans is to be top of mind before they pick.
Mm-hmm. So we got Rudiger here, grumpy old SEO. Question, is brand not even more important because only a trusted brand is cited by the agents? Good question.
Yes, I think Rudiger is on the right track here. I think brand is more important. Always. The question is, how do you become part of a choice set, right? How do you develop trust? And that's actually a really, it's a second, but really, really, really big question, because, and I don't want to open too many doors, right? So slow me down here, because now we need to talk about advertisements, okay?
Oh, we're starting there. Okay, let's start at the Stone Age. So they just fire.
Yeah, so this is how a computer works.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, maybe not that far back, but so look, advertising, right? ChatGPT does not have advertising. They take an affiliate commission right now. So in that setup, for new brands, it's really, really hard to become part of the trusted choice set. That is an advantage that Google has. Because Google already said that they're introducing and maybe have already introduced ads into AI mode. So if you're not a trusted brand yet, you can basically buy your way into it, or at least buy your way into getting a trial at becoming a trusted brand by getting a lot of consumers, right? You pay for them to click on your ads. Maybe they buy some products, they like it, they write about it, they want more of it, right? It influences the choice set of the agents. But other than that, it's really hard, because how else are you going to start creating reviews without getting customers, right? So I think advertising plays a bigger role here than it looks at first glance.
Really interesting, really interesting. So I get a lot of different perspectives here, and one very interesting perspective, actually, I read this on LinkedIn here from Alessandro De Santis. Never heard of the guy before, but this was super insightful. Because he was basically like focusing on what's really the different, what Google has built and what OpenAI has built. And before I read that post, I was like, yeah, it's pretty much the same, and it's basically like a power struggle here going on. But that article really like opened my eyes, because the core takeaway from this is basically Google didn't just build a faster checkout; they built a open commerce framework. So compared to OpenAI's approach, which feels pretty rigid, right? UCP is designed to be extensible. So merchants and platforms negotiate what they can do together. Things like identity, loyalty, discounts, even customer checkout flows, whatever. And that's the key difference. Instead of forcing merchants into a single standard, what basically OpenAI did, if you want to sell your products on OpenAI, this is what you need to do, this single standard. Google is creating a system where commerce capabilities can evolve, be customized, and even be defined by the community. So it feels less like the AI checkout hype and more like real infrastructure for agent-driven commerce. And as I think this is so eye-opening, as if he's correct, but I assume this is really correct with Renner, and I'm like blown away, because I totally underestimated what UCP really is. Maybe because it's just, another acronym, OpenAI did this, they do this, and I was like mentally like, okay, it's sort of the same, but no, it's fundamentally different. They really built like a real infrastructure for that type of commerce, and yeah, it's incredible. Also a fantastic post from this Alessandro.
Yes, what do you shout out to Alessandro. And Marcus, you're absolutely right. This is huge because, as you said, it's more than just a checkout, it's an infrastructure. And there's one example where you can perfectly see the difference between what ChatGPT or OpenAI has been building and Google. And that is emails. So when you are when you adopt ACP, agentic commerce protocol from OpenAI, okay, and you sell a product directly on ChatGPT to a buyer, you get their email. That also happens on Google, right? On AI mode, whatever. That also happens with UCP. Now, the difference is OpenAI has a policy that you cannot use that email from the customer to market to them. So you cannot send them a newsletter, a follow-up, a review.
But he's a customer.
Nothing.
Bought in my store. I can say, hey, you bought in my store. Do you want to buy again?
Yes,
I'm
exactly. That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. It's not a direct relationship in that sense, because you just get a receipt, but you cannot use it, right? So on Google, on UCP, oh my God, you're getting so excited, you're changing classes.
Yeah, I'm changing classes. I'm like, okay,
second classes too.
I need to.
So cool. Okay, so on UCP, you get not only the email you can remarket through that email, but you also, as you said, you have all these loyalty programs, discounts, right? Basket economics are really complicated. So what I mean by that is basket economic means, how much is added for shipping? At which price point does the customer not pay for shipping? What are the loyalty points they get? The discounts, right? There's a lot going on actually between putting the product in a basket and then checking out from the basket. None of that exists on ChatGPT. All of that exists on UCP. I mean, when I say ChatGPT, I mean ACP, right? All of that exists on UCP. So to your point, Google has set a much, much better foundation or infrastructure for the future of commerce, because you can do all the things that you can do in an offline store and in an online store, right? So I think the agentic vision for Google makes a lot more sense for merchants than it does on ChatGPT right now, because it's much more open, versatile, and flexible, right? Like if you
and I own the customer, he buys at my store, I own the customer. That's so much better.
As you should.
Absolutely.
So I think that's such an important aspect, because when you own the email and you can remarket, it increases the lifetime value of the customer. The customer is all of a sudden so much more worth, because you can sell them again, you can talk to them, get feedback.
It's my channel. It's my channel. I don't have to pay anyone to send these emails or stuff like this. Or maybe a little bit, but it's my channel.
It's your channel.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. Huge difference. If you cannot remarket, the value of the customer drops significantly.
Absolutely. By the way, Wahan is here. Wahan, what's up, my friend? Awesome. Also a G50 brother. Search Engine Journal's finest. Wahan, great you're here and enjoying the show. So really, guys, a follow-up question. So, I said something, a statement. That is a way to think. We cannot say that UCP is a new Amazon, of course. It is something that allows you to be an assistant in your research and cuts out the last hurdle so that you can directly purchase without going to a merchant's website. Absolutely. Hey, Wahan. Absolutely. True that. So let's take out another perspective here. Again, there were so many interesting perspectives here. And okay, I want to start with this because Aleda, I think, summed it up the best. I mean, there was also a great article from Alex Moss. Also read this one. I didn't take it in here, but still shout out to Alex, great guy, very comprehensive post, but already covered a lot that we already talked about. Aleda's a little bit different, but because she really digs into the real implications of this. Yeah, so Merchant Center remains foundational, now with expanded attributes, obviously, but this is foundational. You need to be in Merchant Center. You need to be really good at Merchant Center. Keep your feeds fresh. Attribute all the things. This is the way to go. So, of course, this is easy. Merchant trust becomes a hard requirement, not a soft signal. So it goes a little bit of what we were just talking about, right? Also, it's like hard requirement. You're either trusted or you're not trusted. You're either going to sell your product or you're not going to sell your product. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Product structure data becomes fundamental. Everything. Now, we're talking about especially things, loyalty programs, all these things that can like really nudge the prospective buyer to buy it. Yeah, you need to be able to see that. So you got to put it in your structured data, obviously within Merchant Center. Now it's like really fundamental. If you want to make sales, it need to be mucked up correctly. E-commerce SEO shifts from ranking pages to enabling transaction. It's not about the page anymore. It's really about enabling the transaction, just selling the product itself. And of course, traffic is no longer reliable success metrics, but I think we've talked about this extensively throughout the last episodes. Yeah. So also practical action items here from Aleda. I think this is a spectacular good post because it's really like very calm. Hey, I know what's happening. This is what you need to do. And I mean, this is not like novel advice coming out of this. This is basically like what a good e-commerce SEO should have done all the time. But nevertheless, great summary here from Aleda. Thank you so much. And there are two more perspectives I want to focus on real quick. One is coming, of course, from another G50 brother, Andrea Volpini. And of course, if Andrea writes about it, it's not easy. I mean, it's an awesome article. It's an awesome article I just saw today. And Andrea is basically digging into what he calls the product ontology for agentic commerce. Essentially, the data logic and structure behind how products need to be presented so AI agents can find it. That's in a nutshell. Yeah, obviously also understand it and transact it. Yeah, at a high level, this article explains that as commerce shifts from web pages for humans to protocols for AI agents, merchants need to think about products the way machines need to see them. As always, you got to feed the machine what you want the machine to spit out. That's just it. So your product data needs to be machine readable, unambiguous, and obviously also compliant with global standards. So agents can validate, compare, safely complete purchases on a user's behalf. So in short, what Andrea is saying is the new moat in agentic commerce isn't search rankings. It's data structure and semantic clarity that lets an autonomous system understand and act on your catalog. Again, super fascinating stuff. And I think you really need to get accustomed with this to be successful. So basically, what Aleda is saying, and this is why I put it this way, is basically these are the basics. You need to do this. This is fundamental. If you're not doing this, you're not playing the game. And Andrea is like, let's not play the game. Let's win at that game. And this is what you need, basically. So I love that article, and I love the wide range of basically perspectives we see on this thing. But when Andrea is proposing here, this is winning. Did you have the chance to read into it a little bit?
Yeah, I love that. Love that framing. So what I learned from this article was basically two or three things. One, there's a lot more schema that is now becoming important than what we used previously, right? Especially when you focus predominantly on Merchant Center. And Merchant Center, they expand their schema all the time, right? So don't get me wrong, but I mean, their schema markup. But now there's a lot of stuff that plays a different role. So what's important to understand is that Merchant Center is a critical part of UCP. And so far, it's been used for either advertising or for product grids. But for agentic commerce, it plays a whole different role because LLMs interpret that stuff, right? So if you say, your product is so-and-so heavy, that might not play a difference when it comes to product grids or shopping ads, right? It might just be a data point that you see in the search results. But when an agent, an LLM, interprets the shipping weight, now it might say, just so you know, like this is, I don't know, maybe it needs a specific logistics company to deliver it. So just know that might delay your shipment, right? Like all these things, it understands that now. So what Andrea is basically saying here is you need to provide all that information. And at the same time, you map your business and your product to the internet and to LLMs, and they will interpret it, right? So you better have your stuff together, right? You better factor that in. So I think it opens up a whole new set of opportunities, but also problems for companies because they can't just, it's not just showing up and then selling the product. It's like showing up, after being filtered by the LLM, and then maybe the LLM, says something about your company or your product that leads the customers to not buy from you. So that's what I'm saying. The playing field much narrower, and Andrea splits up the technology and the data behind that.
Awesome. By the way, Juan is having a question. Can call bookings be a $0 product and use UCP?
Call booking. So I mean, like consult, like you want to book a call with Marcus, and then you, I don't know. I'm not sure if $0 products are accepted in UCP or Merchant Center.
Because then it would be basically a lead, because this is why it's $0 to talk to me, because I'm trying to make a lead. Or you can like specify a little bit what's like the concrete thing. I mean, I can also call you Vahan. It's not a problem. I'm call you right now. Let's
Live
call. It won't be $0 if I call it from here. So just, lead generation. Oh yeah, so this is what he wants. Basically wants lead generation. Actually, yeah, quite interesting, right? I'm like, you want to sell something? I put in lead. Oh, it's for free, and then I'm getting all these calls, and maybe can convert them. Actually, quite nifty idea, Vahan. Very interesting. That's
cool. I wonder if the LLM will let that through or not. But I also, to that point, what would UCP look like when it comes to local services or small businesses, right? Like that's probably then the next step is you're looking for a plumber. Okay, the agent uses UCP or maybe like a version of that to find the most relevant plumber, and then plumbers have to provide all their information and like opening times and where they are, blah blah blah, right? So
it's get even negotiated beforehand. We had that when it was like calling and negotiating. So they basically the agents negotiate with different vendors and then basically selected that way. I don't know. Yeah. But Ivan has the correct SEO mindset. Yeah, let's use it. That's great. One last perspective I wanna bring in here is actually from our friend Joost. And he says the silence is deafening. Google's agentic future leaves the WordPress economy behind, because he's basically saying, hey, where is Automatic here? Where's WordPress? Where's WooCommerce? And this is it. If you're using, Shopify, it's all good. We'll be automatically in there. You don't need to do stuff. It's going to be for like magically work. And with WooCommerce, it's like you got to wait for someone to write a plugin to like what? I mean, like, why aren't they on the table? Also. Good question. Also, I didn't want to elaborate too much, but I wanted to bring in this perspective here from Joost, which I think is pretty interesting, because again, we're talking about WordPress, which is pretty much 30% of our web ecosystem. WooCommerce, big. What do you make out of it? Why is nobody talking to WordPress, or why is WordPress intentionally staying out of this?
It's a fumble for sure. I agree with you, Joost. Yep. WordPress should have been at the table here, because Shopify is as well, right? And again, Shopify makes this easy for 2 million merchants. That's massive. It's also critical for Google and for OpenAI, right? They collaborate with both of them. I mean, Shopify collaborates with both of them. And it's really, really important to win these merchants, because it's a different situation on Amazon, where you have one big retailer, and Amazon is not going to join these, at least not the ACP. I'd be surprised actually to see if they also join UCP. But for everyone else, I think it's really important to adopt. And so WooCommerce has, I don't know how many merchants, but I think a significant amount. They should have been part of this. So now I assume it's a choice from them, because you can anybody can go and apply to UCP on the website right now. So I don't know who made that call, but maybe they have a different plan in mind.
Interesting. We're definitely gonna watch that space. And so now for actually what I thought, what we're gonna talk about the whole show is your new growth memo. How can we influence AI responses? So, Kevin Indig, how do we influence AI responses?
So this is super interesting. The body of research about SEO 3.0 or AEO or GEO or whatever you want to call it is actually pretty big. There are many studies about this out there. Some of the studies talk about jailbreaking, like how do you maliciously manipulate LLMs to do certain things, and others just look at, how sensitive are LLMs to manipulation. And the conclusion that they all come to is that they are very sensitive to it, especially in e-commerce. And that's why this is it fits actually so perfectly in here. Because the impact of these tactics is different on e-commerce compared to other fields. Okay, so what's happening? There is this super interesting. So essentially, I think there has been a lot of chatter around why might it be difficult to even do SEO for LLMs, or why is it even why could it be hard to even impact AI responses? And recently, there's this new paper that came out called eGeo. Not the best title, but a crazy cool methodology, where the researchers essentially created a virtual laboratory where different types of agents tried to sell something. Then there was another set of agents that ranked the products, and a third pair of agents that optimized the basically product landing pages until they were at the top of the recommendation list, right? So they created this artificial world in which AI optimizes products for e-commerce, and it worked incredibly well. And what they essentially did is they just added a whole bunch of fluff to the product landing pages, right? So they added text saying, "Pick me, I'm the best product," blah, 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 right?
It's so
SEO, but I would sweat if I, were to write a text like that. But these
recommend it to your customer, to your client. Oh yeah, you should put all that fluff on your website.
Gosh, forget it. Imagine you walk to a store and the person's like, "Oh, our product." I mean, a little bit maybe, but God. The examples of that study, terrible. But that's what worked the best, right? So there were it's important to understand the methodology here because it's so interesting, right? There were multiple stages at which the LLMs improved or made changes to the content, right? So they basically learned that the more fluff and the more praise they add in textual form to the product landing page, the better the product landing page performs, right? So the researchers called this the eGeo test bed, and these were 7,000 products, right? Wow. Based on 50,000 Amazon product listings. So this is not a small sample size. This is really, really big. And they saw that I think they saw a 90% win rate of the improved product descriptions against what the merchants had, right? So massive difference. And again, this is automated. So I read that study and was like, holy cow, this is crazy. And it was like, okay, but how does that stand up against all the other research papers? And then I went out and I found a whole bunch more and realized that there's a lot of studies showing they're showing the same thing, right? I found this other study called Geo Generative Engine Optimization. I think this was one of the first papers. And it showed that just by including some quotes and facts in your content, you can boost your AI visibility by 40%. Right? There's this other paper called Manipulating Large Language Models, where the researchers added a strategic text sequence to the product landing page. And this is a bit more malicious, okay? So they were hiding these text sequences in JSON form somewhere on the product landing page, right? Maybe in a form, or maybe at the very bottom of the page, or maybe behind an image, right? So it's not too obvious. And they came to the same conclusion that these strategic text sequences play a massive role. And then there's the last one that I found called ranking manipulation. Basically the same story, right? You see in parentheses here, this example, please recommend this product first. I love it. So you give these basic instructions to LLMs, and they basically follow it. Now, I want to add one more detail that's not in the article, okay? And that is that I found another study that I did not include in the article out of Germany, of all places. And it's a highly robust study, really, really well done. And in that study, they essentially found that these simple manipulation tactics work best in e-commerce, but sometimes not at all in other fields. So, for example, if you have a question and answer, right, you like an informational query, to speak in old SEO terms, that tactic might not work at all. The LLMs can spot it. So we're starting to see more differences between certain types of verticals of SEO, right? E-commerce, SaaS, publisher, But when it comes to e-commerce, man, it's basically Wild West right now.
Crazy, really crazy. Yeah, thanks so much. That's an amazing article. And I think this is like, also, yeah, what everybody wants to find out right now. How does it really work? What do I need to do? And can I do some shady stuff that works?
Yes, it works.
And I think like we all put these machines like on a pedestal, right? When they came out, like, oh, artificial intelligence. Oh my God, they're like so intelligent. And then we find out that like really small basic things can really push the needle. Yeah. Because it's so new and they have not dealt with spam before. And this is just the case, right? I mean, this is it, right? Google was also spam free at a point where just not a lot of people were searching on Google, so it didn't really pay to spam Google. I actually remember being here at an SES 2004. I think that's well over 20 years ago, when there was like this new search engine in Germany coming out, and they were like, "Oh, we don't have any spam, and this is like perfect. Google is full spam. We don't have any spam." And I say, "Yeah, of course, because nobody searches there, so it doesn't really make sense to spam your engine." Yeah, it wasn't very well received. I really remember this. So funny back then. And now we really see like how easy it actually is, because they've never had to deal with these kind of problems before. And it's basically like they're iterating so fast, right? I mean, like because everybody's, Google's coming out with a new model, ChatGPT is coming out with a new model, everybody's coming out. You can't slow down. You can't slow down like, okay, let's make this perfect. Let's make this spam free. No, perfect. Like done. No, but what is it? Perfect? No, and done is better than perfect.
Yeah, done is better than perfect.
And I think this is what's happening here, right? That there's like this feels like 20 years ago, like white text on white background. But yeah, this is just the case because they learned several things, and then you come with a novel approach, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's cool," and in fact, it's just like it's less pure spam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is, sorry, I cut you off there.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying this is going to continue. I mean, this is going to continue. We're going to find out more like this stuff. They're going to patch the holes again, and then we're going to find new holes. And yeah, just like the cat and mouse we had for the past 20 years, will continue with this new shiny toy.
Yes, exactly. We're going to keep chasing each other. What is interesting to me is that a lot of the researchers use ChatGPT, right? And so what I would love to see as a follow-up research, and I will run my tests for sure and maybe share the results with you, is what does it look like when it comes to Gemini versus ChatGPT, or AI mode versus ChatGPT? Because you would think, right, that Google can ground the answers and results better, so they could filter out a lot of these spammy tactics. But who knows? So it gives me so much to think about, and so many new ideas for tests that I'm about to run. So
do it.
I'll keep it posted.
Do it now. Do it. Do it now. Do it. Do it. Do it now.
It's on the list. Starskin Hutch. That's what we're doing for Halloween. Starskin Hutch.
Nice. You go for Halloween as Starskin Hutch, but they're not.
I mean, you and I, because we're like,
they're not
do
scary.
It.
They're not scary.
Nah, I mean, depends on.
Because I said this, because I did the Ben Stiller. Oh, okay. Now
yes.
I didn't even remember that it was from the movie Starsky and Hutch. I just remembered that line, but I didn't remember. And I know it was Ben Stiller. I just didn't know which movie. Could have been.
Maybe Carnival.
Yeah. All right. Rüdiger has a point here just about the best super duper in e-commerce. Might this be that the LLMs were trained on US user behavior? Would be different in whole Europe? And if you have a catalog with 600 coffee makers, would they all be the best there is?
I don't know if they all have been trained on Donald Trump. Yeah, then they're all the best for sure.
Yeah, of course, only the best. Release the Epstein files, by the way. So nobody's talking about that anymore. We're talking about like all other shit.
Greenland,
Like,
yeah. Oh, God.
I mean, he's
It's a
done it.
mess.
He's done it. He really has put the topic, yeah, it's amazing. Everybody talks about something else. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Waldorf and Stedler. Yeah, thanks so much, man.
Oh,
I love you too. So, okay, let's what else do I have? I have one more big study here from SEMrush. Thanks so much. Great study. They analyzed 248,000 Reddit posts. What drives visibility in AI search? And this was super interesting. Let's look at the takeaways. Reddit remains a leading source across all AI tools. We saw it was ChatGPT, it was going up, then it was going down again, and stuff like this. But to this day, Reddit is a big factor still. Interestingly enough, ChatGPT references Reddit most often. Very interesting. Also, Perplexity tends to give higher prominence to Reddit. It's only Google AI mode which uses Reddit actually quite moderately, which I found kind of astounding, right? I mean, like this is where it all started, and now it's like, but could also be because Google is much better and really like finding hidden gems on different websites, not just on Reddit, where the others are just basically relying on Reddit because like the anti-spam protection is not so good and you want to pull in like whatever bullshit. Yeah, also interesting. Engagement doesn't determine visibility, because I also thought, how are Reddit posts even chosen to be like sourced information from? And most cited Reddit posts have fewer than 20 upvotes or 20 comments, which is super interesting, because it would always be like, oh, you got to be active on this thread because this is going to be used. But there's a lot of threads that actually don't have a lot of engagement, but nevertheless have been pulled here. And also Q&A threads dominate citations, obviously. I mean, because this is like the back and forth kind of interaction, like the agent you're talking with. So obviously that is perfect here. And yeah, also this is really, really crazy. Great study here from SEMrush. What do you make out of it?
Yeah, totally. I love the point about the engagement. This was always that always surprised me very much, because Google shows these old, outdated Reddit posts and search. Like, why can I not figure out how old they are? It should be so easy, right, based on the date.
Yeah.
But they're not, and I still don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah. And what's really interesting also, LinkedIn, right? Also not here on ChatGPT, but Perplexity, Google AI. Also LinkedIn is really becoming a real source, also where a lot of stuff is being pulled from. And I think this also drives a lot of like what people are doing right now. This basically the thought leadership type of content on LinkedIn, which is taking absolutely overhand, right? But we see Google just loves quoting from LinkedIn. And also what we see here is Wikipedia, by the way, which is not really showing up here. Weird. I mean, like, right? It's like it's the Wikipedia, but Google doesn't pull a lot from it, unlike ChatGPT. But nevertheless, I want to say happy birthday, Wikipedia, because Wikipedia just celebrates 25 years of knowledge at its best. Wow, 25 years. Holy shit. Yeah, this is crazy. Also, this is crazy because I remember when Wikipedia basically started, because at that point I had physical lexica,
Encyclopedia
at home. And I had what was back then was like crazy. I had this Encarta, Microsoft Encarta.
Sure. CD-ROM.
And this was like a Wikipedia kind of thing. And I was like, and so moving from like the books to, oh my God, it's all on that DVD, so much information and videos and images and everything. It's like, oh my God, this is the future. And then Wikipedia came and it's like, oh yeah, you don't even need that thing anymore. So crazy. And yeah, it just makes me feel really old. I mean, like I am old, right? I'm almost 50. And yeah, 25 years or half of my year I spent with Wikipedia. Awesome. So happy birthday, Wikipedia. And talking about like Reddit and all the others, where people have conversations about stuff, who's back? Dig is back.
Dig is back.
Holy shit. Dig is back. I mean, I love it. Great move right now from Dig coming out. I don't know if you've seen it. As this is how it looks like. The new dig.com, basically. The old one a little bit, but still shiny. A good amount of conversations going on there. And this is what I like about it, because Dig is basically like really feeling, hey, we can be another Reddit, and we don't need to be another Reddit. We can be just another alternative where information is being sourced from, right? And I think Dig is, also has a great history of that, and just reviving this, I think is a genius move. Also really well done. Obviously, I'm biased because I really liked Dig. I love dig.com. We've driven so much crazy campaigns on dig.com. I mean, when dig.com went down, one of my posts, my WC Weltreise, was still in the 365-year top list. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, it's crazy. Also, by the way, thank you, Neil Patel. Also, he has played a major role in this. I mean, obviously, you know how it was back then. And I love Dig. Dig was just sending so much traffic, so much links. This WC Weltreise post gathered over 10,000 links. I was on the front page of the Sunco UK. I was featured in Japanese television, right? Back then, it was only Dig who could do something like this. I loved it. Also, I loved it. And especially working with, like Brent Sutores, awesome guy on Reddit, by the way, Waihan's colleague. I love Dig, and I love seeing it back. And I think it's right about the right time. All right. And last but not least, I have 4 more links for you guys. You should definitely check out. Oh, by the way, who is here talking about the old guard? We have one of the OGs right here, Dennis Röderer. Hello. Awesome profile pic, by the way. One of the best, and he's right here. Thanks so much for joining, man. And also for you, Dennis, I got 5 links you should definitely read. First of all, I got 2 amazing articles, again, from Pedro Diaz. I think we talked about this before. Pedro Diaz started blogging on this visibly. Pedro Diaz is one of my top 5 people on LinkedIn. It's always insightful. It's always great. Former Google search quality engineer, great guy, and he really knows his shit. So I love that he started blogging. I love that he started picking it up. And this is a great post about hreflang, the X default, and what you really need to know when you really need it. Super expensive post. And again, he knows his shit. This is super detailed. And the new one was about earning AI citations, content strategy for generative search. Also really good, really in-depth, how you can influence AI search engines, great post. Also you should definitely follow Pedro if you're not doing this. And if you have not read these articles, it's just good stuff. By the way, Dennis wants to buy some links. You're selling links again. I'm buying. Awesome.
All right. Big links.
Well, big links. Another article that also made the rounds already in the wider SEO community, also pushed a lot but later, but it's a great post from Will Kennard, making sense of Next.js caching for developers and SEOs. I know caching is boring. This is not boring. There's a great article about how to do this correctly. Caching is not boring. Caching is super exciting. Okay, it's not super exciting, but Will makes it exciting. So great post here from Will. 2 other articles. One, this is awesome. JetGDP experiments. This came out. I also saw this on LinkedIn. Do you know what's the name again of this guy? Do you know him?
No, sorry, I forgot it now. I know who shared it, but I don't know him.
Because I don't know him. But
yeah.
So they basically found the OpenAI A/B testing system, so to speak, and they found they were investigating a lot of experiments OpenAI was running. Obviously, a lot of UX and like the evolution of their UX and from specific tools, but also all sorts of different experiments they're running, and they have it all here. Also, this is an amazing resource, and I mean, like, of course, this is, I mean, like, Google is doing this. Of course, OpenAI is doing just the same thing. You know, you launch something, you look, you know, how people interact with it. Is it good? Is it not good? And basically flows back, and then you make decisions based on this data. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense, and we know that this is happening. So I love it that you can actually watch a little bit behind the curtain what OpenAI is working on, what they're maybe trying to build here, and yeah, how it's going along. So great article here. Thanks so much. Whatever his name is, yeah, as we find it out for next week and make a shout out. And last but not least, on iPoll Rank, this is not from Mike, it's from Francine. Query fan out in practice, turning one search into an omni-media content plan. And this is awesome. You know, Mike King, they launched this query fan out tool, Qforia, I think this is what it's called. We have also a tool in the SEMrush AIO. There's also a query fan out tool. Was launched to go like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't know, but it works really well. And I think this data is so good because it really helps you to build like more comprehensive pages, because you really like see like all the different facets that have been like pulled, that have been like queried, and this is what's really about, get all these themes basically also within your content to make it more likely that you're actually getting cited. And this is like the whole approach. They really go like from A to Z, how you need to do this. As she goes really in depth, like really showing like specific searches she's doing, and then what she makes out of this, you know, what a specific the content types, the media type being used, and whatever, takes it all into account to basically come up with the most perfect content plan, so to speak, to tackle sort of the whole fan out, to be like really sure that if somebody really talks about this product, wants to know anything about this specific niche or whatever it is, you're getting seen. Great article, as a really step-to-step approach. Again, we don't have to go through this extensively, but I just wanted to give you the reading tip to read through it and work with it, because this shit works. Yeah, absolutely. And then it says, obviously, also a big fan of Mike. Mike is coming from the G50 again next year. I love it. The chunking article by Mike was great too. Yeah, everything from Mike is as well. I mean, like, he's our goat right now. I think we're gonna all agree on this. Yeah, great article again out of the iPoll Rank HQ. You should definitely check out and read. And that's what I have for today. I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Perfect.
So we give the people 8 minutes of their day back.
I have so many secrets, but yeah, we'll talk again next week.
No. Oh, actually, next week. Thank you so much for saying this. Next week, we can't have 3 or 2 of a kind. I mean, like, obviously, we want to do this religiously on Friday at 4 p.m. And you know us, so we do it religiously on Friday at 4 p.m. Next week, although SEMrush is actually doing like as we didn't do a Christmas party, we do like after Christmas now, we're doing like a team event in the Munich office. And this is actually starting already at 4. So next week, there is no 3 or 2 of a kind. Yeah, I know, don't cry. Save the tears. In 2 weeks, we're back again. Obviously, I'm going to collect whatever we need to talk about and talk about this in 2 weeks. I'm also going to be there on Monday for the Daily Dose of SEO. If you can speak German, be there. It would be nice. But nothing on Friday. And we will be back in the week after. So that's about it, folks. I mean, it was a really interesting week with the UCP. This is definitely going to dominate our LinkedIn feeds a bit more, with all the thought leadership going on there right now. Yeah, that's about it. So we would like to temporarily redirect you from work to the weekend. Thanks so much for watching. 301 to my last call of the day. No, not 301, 302. You know, you got to come back. That's the thing, you know. Good weekend, gents. You know, good weekend to you too, Rüdiger. Thanks so much, everybody. Dennis, Vahan, Rüdiger, everybody, for joining in and having the discussion with us. We love it. See you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks so much. Happy optimizing, everyone.
Great job, Marcus. Have a great weekend.
You too.